Bonjour, and welcome to the Amateur Detective Club. This club is exactly how it sounds. A bunch of amateurs talking about their favorite mysteries. So if you encounter a real mystery or a murder, contact the proper authorities. Do not come to us. We do not know what we are doing. But enjoy the program. Allons-y. Let us begin.
Quand il me prend dans ses bras, il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose.
I would appreciate it if you don't laugh. I call this meeting of the Amateur Detectives Club to order. My name is Tristan Miller, Kid Cop.
I am Miles Neuvirth, boy detective.
And I am Melissa Meli, the spy.
Okay, I got first thing.
Yes.
Minute 28 seconds into this audiobook, that is when the first ejaculation happens. First, beat you all.
Ah, nuts.
Yes!
Wow. They did get right into it.
Yep.
good.
There's a bunch
It's
in here.
very
Minute
funny.
28, that's usually my time too.
It's
Ditto.
it's like every other chapter for a bit. We do a mystery podcast.
The book we were reading today is Agatha Christie's Murder on the Link, starring Hercule Poirot.
And we have to say it like murder.
Murder.
Like every
Yeah.
murder.
There has been a murder.
I was worried there was going to be more golf involved. I was delighted
There
by the
was
lack of golf.
So little golf. In fact, there
I
was
would-
no golf.
I
no
was
golf.
I was very disappointed. I like golf.
I get that.
Okay.
It's like it's
Well, no, I don't get that.
like there's that golf is a long walk ruined.
Ruined, yeah.
Whereas I'm like golf is the only reason I walk.
I can sympathize with you. I cannot empathize.
Okay.
Oh, good. Now that we've gotten that out of the way.
Okay.
So
So
golf, it just happens kind of on a golf course a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's one clue.
Yeah.
That
On a
is
golf course.
related.
So this starts out with, we're back with Captain Hastings.
good.
Can we get a Hastings meter? I hated him less.
Yeah.
He was just as horny, if not more horny.
Oh, yeah.
He was
But
very horny.
He was less like, oh, this Poirot's being an idiot.
So I guess we have two Hastings meters. One is how horny he is, which in this book is
very
a lot.
Very extra horny.
Very extra.
extraordinary.
And also how insufferable he is, which in this one was less than the last one.
Is that an even trade? If he was more, the more horny he is, the less he's willing to criticize, because the less he's willing to like observe things besides women's parts.
I don't know. I feel like it's all just
It's weird because usually
obnoxious.
the more horny a man is, the more insufferable he is.
That's
Yeah.
true.
This is fascinating.
I will not suffer horny men lightly.
I do like, and that's one of the points I wanted to make with there's another character in this one, Giraud, who is a counter detective, and I feel like he took up the mantle of
Insufferability.
in like being like the idiot Poirot does not know what he's doing, like
Yeah.
and it's better coming from a guy we're not supposed to like as opposed to the guy we have to follow.
Oh,
Yeah,
for
sure.
sure. That's actually a really good point because the thing that bothers me the most about Hastings, except when he's being really misogynistic, is
I literally have a note that just says, okay, so Hastings is very sexist.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And it's weird because a woman wrote these books and wrote this narrator.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it doesn't feel like a commentary on it. It just feels like, oh yeah, no, this is not how women are supposed to act. But yes, at any rate, that's a really good point. And I lost my train of thought.
But he was the thing that bothered you besides when he is very misogynistic is
Oh, yes, when he's criticizing Poirot.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he's like,
Anytime.
oh, what an idiot. Like,
there's-
he must have lost his mind because he's older now. What is he doing? I know better than him.
I'm
no,
glad
you
we've gotten
don't.
rid of all of that.
Yeah,
or
it's-
most of that. So that's,
Well,
most of
at
that.
this point, like, every time that comes up, it's not like, oh, what a fool Poirot's been. It's like, I'm trying to figure out this case, too, and that doesn't make sense to me.
yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
I wish he would actually tell me what he's thinking as opposed to not.
Yep, welcome to being in a relationship with any man.
Got him.
dunked.
Yeah, pretty much.
I guess let's go with the overview.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So this starts out on a train. Hastings is on a train, and there's one other person in his train car, and she.
Who's that lady?
Who's that lady?
Sexy lady.
I actually had a note on her, the character, right away.
Yes.
I thought she was delightful.
Yeah.
And my first thought was like, oh, this character's delightful. I'm now worried they're either going to be murdered or be the murderer.
Yes.
My first thought.
I loved her. My first note was, lady on the train who is cursing, thumbs up.
I literally wrote, I'm in love with this woman.
Yeah.
Also, the phrase "I'm desolated" should be used more often.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very good.
Oh, I'm desolated by this.
Yeah, and then
Je suis désolé.
it's so good. Hastings immediately says that disapproves of her cursing, saying a woman should be womanly.
Yeah.
Basically, she tells her to
Love it.
which is great. Oh, I just did a curse.
Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah.
Oh, we can bleep it.
We can
Oh,
bleep it.
one moment. I'm gonna do an audio store of "Sacre bleu" or something like that.
Oh, okay. So you can bleep it with that. I like that. I like that. So yeah, she has a little conversation with him. They talk about Poirot. She likes mysteries a lot. She's an acrobat with her sister. And she says her name is Cinderella.
Yes.
Which is absolutely wonderful, and I love her, and I want to be her best friend.
Yeah. Very much. So then we get into the actual story. Hastings gets home to Poirot, and Poirot's like, there are no criminals of weight left in the world.
I do have
that.
a note about
Yes.
that first meeting.
Yes.
We should also use the phrase "make friends" more often. Well, we should make friends.
Oh, yeah,
rather
like in
than-
that
yeah,
way.
I think that's good. And then also the fact that she's just a nerd about mysteries and is like, oh yeah, from that case that happened 2 months ago. That's the first book, and I think that's
did
very
like
cool.
that
Yeah,
as well.
I
Yeah.
like that too.
Things like that are the reason I get weird about needing to read things in order.
Yes.
Because I felt in on it in that moment because I'm like, yes, I've also
read
read
that.
that mystery.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was great. That was super great. Everything about that first chapter is pretty super great. Yeah. Oh, so yes, Hastings and Poirot are rooming together.
And he's like, straighten your tie, and I love that. Because
Yes.
I'm like, straighten your tie to the world. The world needs to straighten its tie.
Yep. Yeah. It's a very good little character establishment, reminding us all that Poirot likes things neat and orderly.
Needs everything just so.
Yes.
What happened in his life to make him like that, I wonder?
Brain chemistry.
Probably that, and he was in the war, wasn't he? Or he was he's a police officer.
Yeah.
He used to be a detective.
So is it a chicken or an egg situation, do you reckon?
An egg situation?
Yes, an egg situation. Yes, the egg thing.
He's very particular about his eggs.
Yes.
Yes. And he's they actually do note that he's eating his second egg when Hastings walks in. It's very cute.
The boy gets me.
Yeah.
Another note that I made, this it wasn't at the beginning, but it also doesn't have anything to do with the plot.
Sure.
It was at one point, Poirot says that he must attend to his mustaches.
Yes, I know, that was also a
And I'm
note.
thinking,
Yeah.
Oh, Ken Branagh was right.
it's a little more justified now.
It's a mustache on a mustache, pretty much. So yes, they've been bored. They haven't been getting a whole lot of mysteries to solve.
Boy, I wish there was just more murder.
I know. That struck me funny too. And so they go through the mail, and it's bills, and it's a thank you note, and then there's one.
Zut alors.
Zut alors! There is a very urgent letter from this guy named P.T. Renault. God, guys, I'm sorry in advance for how much I'm going to suck at pronouncing French things. I'm not great with the Frenchiness.
Yeah.
Petit Renault.
Fine. Tristan will just say everything.
Yes,
Every
just
time
point
we
to me.
point to you, say a French name.
Okay.
It might be wrong.
Guess which one.
Jean-Luc Picard. Every time.
Everyone in
Murder on the USS Enterprise.
Everyone in this
I
one.
have a new
is
project for us.
named- Oh boy.
But that would actually be that was an episode, a holodeck episode, but it
Yeah.
was Sherlock instead of Poirot.
And it was super good.
Yeah.
I loved it.
That's
so
okay,
they
guys.
get a mysterious letter from Renaud saying,
From P.T.
I need
Barnum.
you to come investigate my life. I think my life is in danger. And they note right away, like, he has this, like, really well put together note, and then at the end, like, a scrawling of, must come urgently.
It's, for God's sakes, come!
Yeah.
Which is the thing I say in the bedroom.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Got him.
That's no pressure there.
Yep.
Oh boy. Oh God, that's
So they
just
immediately
riddled
go to France.
with... Yep, France. Let's go to France now.
When they get there, they
Say a lot of French words.
they
Sorry,
say
go
a
on.
lot of French words. And they're waiting for the car that was supposed to be sent for them by Renault, and eventually they're like, let's just get our own car, because this man is forgotten or something's happened. Obviously, he has been murdered.
And this
Yeah.
is in chapter 2. That happens quick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Which
we
makes-
just get right into it.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
This case, you guys, was a lot. Like, there's a lot going.
Yeah.
There is, and a lot of it is not relevant.
Yeah. It was
Red herrings.
super interesting. But I also followed it a little better than the first one, and I feel like that's because we got to be with Poirot more of the time.
Yeah, he
Sure.
came in like right from the get go. We got
Like, him staying with Hastings helps.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, because then we're following him much more closely. So okay, Renaud has been murdered.
Moided.
Moida, and he so he was discovered in a dug grave on the golf course in progress, which is why we're on the links.
yeah.
He was discovered in a dug grave. He had been stabbed in the back, and his wife had been bound and
Gagged.
gagged and like
Left in a room, right?
yeah,
left
something
in
like
her
that.
room.
I'm trying not to confuse this with like real life murder stories that I've been hearing about. Anyway,
So,
And she... right away, she's unconscious.
I
Oh,
think
yeah.
now that the murder's happened, I mean, I guess all the characters have not been introduced, but who do you think did it?
okay, immediately it is said that they have a son who is out of town. And they also introduce, as they're like driving in, there is a woman that Hastings sees and says she is a goddess.
The girl with the anxious eyes.
Is
Which-
what, yeah.
Oh, I feel like any woman with a face for Hastings would do. Like, I feel like he's just like, oh, that woman is there.
I mean, but he says that she is one of the most beautiful women he's ever seen.
The next book, I bet he says the same.
Oh, I bet he does too. But at any rate, he has like the same, like, you know, in the first one, Mary Cavendish infatuation with this woman. So he thinks she's absolutely lovely. And Poirot, as Miles alluded to, calls her the girl with the anxious eyes. So anyway, I
Starring
introduced...
Rooney Mara.
Yeah. So those two characters, the way they're introduced, and as soon as we get into like the specifics of the murder, and that Madame Renaud had witnessed more than one murderer, I went, cool. So it's the son who's out of town.
Yeah.
Is not really out of town. And this girl with the anxious eyes, Marta, is that right?
Marta.
Yes.
Marta Dubois.
Dubois.
Yeah, that's who I thought did it.
Dubois.
To brave means to bluff. I thought it was Mrs. Renaud,
Okay.
and then also Auguste, who is the groundskeeper.
Okay.
Because they're like, he's too old and poor, I guess, to murder. It was kind of the assumption.
Right.
Whereas I'm like, no one's too poor to murder. In fact,
Yeah.
you'll find
that's a
all this
motive.
for a loaf of bread. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I refrained from making a
Oh, fine.
thing until pretty late in the game.
All
Because I was
right.
like, I want a few more clues before I write anything down. But the thing I ended up getting to was the second wrong thing that Hastings thought. So I
Okay.
thought it was whoever Bella was. I thought it was whoever Bella was.
Sure, sure. Now, at the murder scene, they also introduce this new character who is insufferable, Giraud, who is a counterpoint to. He is the John Hodgman to Poirot's Nick Offerman. So similar, yet not the same.
Okay, I see where you're going with that.
Yeah. And I think we were talking about it, you guys are like, it kind of seems superfluous and that sort of thing. Whereas, like, I think to me, it felt like a commentary from Agatha Christie saying, yeah, Sherlock's great, but Poirot, though, guys, right?
Yeah.
Because Giraud is like, it's only facts and it's done the way, like, that's. Like, I don't know. It seems very evidence-based and deduction rather than, like, how Poirot is like, well, we'll wait and see.
Put the
and
story together,
Yep.
and then it'll only make sense one way.
Yep.
Right.
It's a puzzle. It's not. Yeah.
Yeah, so that it was. Yeah, you're right. It was cool to have that character.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's actually just a couple things more about the murder itself, what
Yes.
happened, that are really relevant.
Yes.
So he was found in the open grave, as I said. The wife had been bound and gagged. Lots of French names. Oh my God. And yes, there were like men with beards that had come in.
Yeah.
Seemingly.
Yeah. She was like, men with beards came in, started asking him for, like,
Where's the secret?
The secret, and then he was taken away.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Yep.
So he was stabbed with a knife that is made out of a, what, airplane part? Is that right?
That's what I gathered.
I don't know.
But it was made custom from the war. Like
their son.
Jack, had this knife made, and that was the murder weapon. Also, nothing was really disturbed, and it seems like, there wasn't really a break-in. And they do also remark that a stab in the back is a woman's crime. I wrote an eye roll emoji.
They really like so far, like 2 for 2 of these books are like, well, women only murder in these ways.
Yes. But digging the grave would have been much too much work for a lady.
Man's work.
That would have been
The grave
man's
digging.
work. Anyway, so then in the very, very next chapter, we get first of all, the servants are talking about this woman, Madame Dubray.
Madame Dubray.
Thank you. That would come around and a lot.
And just
to
lick
see-
everything in sight. She just pick up things and start licking them. This
This
does
is
not
mine now.
taste good, but it is mine. I've claimed it. It's like a flag, but with my tongue.
That's how I walk into every room.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still sticky.
There was. I have complaints. I have objections.
Why would it be sticky? Okay.
Have you ever let saliva just linger?
Is it that sticky? Is that a sticky feeling?
Now you'd be surprised.
So, there's some assertions that maybe Renaud
Assertions.
is having an affair with Madame Dubray, like blatantly and right in front of his
Dubray.
wife, which is
Nice.
pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, they think that might be going on, but Poirot thinks there might be other reasons for the visits as well. They find evidence that Renaud has been giving Madame Dubray money
Yeah.
in fairly large increments.
Yeah. I wrote, we never just assumed that they're friends, that they're having friendly visits, because men and women can't be friends.
Well, I've
Can
seen
they not?
when Harry Met Sally. That's
Yeah.
true.
Not in-
The
not
sex
in
thing
novels.
always gets in the way.
Yeah, no.
The sex thing always gets in the way.
For sure.
100%.
All the time.
100% of the time, it works every time.
It's one of my biggest complaints about most books. It's like you can't have men and women in them without them falling in love.
Well, I mean, that's just human nature, Miles.
I guess so.
You can't not have that happen. It can't be any other way. Every woman I meet... See, that's why Hastings is so realistic and relatable. Every woman I meet, I fall in love with briefly. And then, I'm just such a schmuck that, I move on to the next thing. And but, that's just how men are. It's just, normal men stuff.
Cool.
Melissa, you wouldn't understand.
Right. No, I'm
So how
sorry.
men work.
I feel
I
very
just need-
irrelevant in this conversation.
I need to.
Well, it's that's woman's work. Is
Right. Yeah. Great.
That and bad murders.
Bad murders, poison, and backstabbing, for sure.
Oh man,
Great. So
I feel dirty.
I know, right? Yes.
Where are we at in this case?
So we got to talk about the letter.
Oh, the
Right, also
letter.
they find a letter.
In the
Right, that
in,
letter that we all remember.
I actually do remember it, kind of.
Good.
Does Miles remember it?
It was sent by someone named Bella, and they
Oh,
found it in
right.
the coat pocket.
Yes.
Right.
And Hercule
Of
is
his-
obsessing over the length of this coat that is on the dead man.
Yes. So the dead man's
Wears
wearing
his
this
overcoat
trench.
long.
Yeah. And he has it measured at a point. Irrelevant later. But yes, so there's a note in the pocket talking about an affair with this woman named Bella, who is absolutely devastated because she thinks that he's losing interest in her and that she will surely kill him rather than have him, with another woman. Great.
Which doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, but-
considering at this point we're assuming the letter is to Renaud and he is legitimately and openly married. Like
Yeah, but
I
the wife...
can't stand seeing you with another woman. I mean, except on what you do live. I mean, you live with a woman. But
Thank God I'm blind. Otherwise, I'd just be in constant emotional pain.
No, the wife... but I mean, the wife doesn't matter. It's only the other mistress, right?
yeah,
That is true.
so it doesn't.
I've seen the movie 9.
But yes,
Sure.
so it didn't. The note didn't make a lot of sense. But
yeah.
But everyone just assumes like, okay, so he has lots of affairs. Maybe this Bella.
That's a fair.
Maybe this. Maybe Madame Dubois. Madame Dubois.
Can you say Madam?
No.
Madame Dubois.
So every time you say it that way, I picture Madeline Kahn, which is perfect.
I love
just
her.
Just like her doing a terrible French accent. Oh man. Oh, I want Aardman to start making these stupid books into great movies. Oh, that'd be so good. End of thought.
So we think maybe Renaud just has a billion affairs.
Yeah.
I actually had a
Nice.
moment. They also talk about their secretary
stuff.
who is out of the who's out of town.
Yes.
Stoner. I had a moment because he's pretty well taken care of in the will. I was like, maybe he's Bella. I was like, maybe.
That would be
like,
far too modern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it did cross my mind.
That'd be
I
kinda
did
cool.
hope a little bit, but
Yeah.
that was not the case.
Agatha Cristie, champion of LGBTQ plus rights,
Yeah.
famously.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
We all knew that. Just like you did, dear listener. Yeah. So then a lot of other stuff happens that we should talk about. Goodness, guys.
Yeah.
There's a lot in this one.
There's just very convoluted.
So what's the next thing? Bella? No, not Bella.
Also, Poirot finds a lead pipe and is like, "This is important too."
Yeah, and Giraud finds matches and
goes,
Poirot's
"This
like,
is more
that is
important."
not important.
It's like, "You fool! But this is important. That is not important. It is important. I'm going to vamp until Melissa finds her place. That is important.
But-
It is
Oh, I
not
stopped
important."
taking notes, guys.
Also,
Okay.
so they meet this Madame Dubray and
Dubois.
Dubois.
Be very, very quiet.
Yes,
I'm
okay.
committing a murder.
So meets Madame Dubray is like, oh, she looks very familiar to me. And
Oh, right.
Yes.
and then he's like, I have to go to Paris to find the killer. No, London. Okay.
Wait,
Long-
guys, this is important. She's got a daughter.
Yes, it's Marta, who is the girl with the anxious eyes.
Yes. What?
Girl with the anxious eyes. It sounds like a 60s.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Doo-wop.
So Poirot leaves to go. He's like, I'm gonna go try and find the killer. He's like, what are you? Okay, cool. That makes sense, Poirot. We know nothing, but you're gonna find the killer.
Introduce the best scene in the book. After Poirot leaves, Hastings just kind of like walking about, hanging out, creepily looking at people swimming, but not swimming himself.
Oh, yeah, that's
Number
true.
one. Number two, he's there. There's a bench. people start talking about the murder, sort of ish, about something suspicious.
Oh, yeah.
And then he steps into a bush, and the bush goes, "Don't step on me." And it's Giraud in a bush costume. It's so good. It's so good. It's like, oh, I've fooled all of them. I am now a bush.
Yes. I take it all back. Giraud's a very good detective.
Oh, it's so good.
He's pretty great. He's
just
great.
I can't wait to see Kenneth Branagh in a bush costume. I hope that happens.
Where he plays Giraud and Poirot.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be good. That's the greatest acting challenge.
Yeah.
Playing two arch rivals.
Oh, perfect. I love
my
this
first
movie.
thought was actually let's have Andy Serkis in a mocap suit
Playing
and
the bush?
play Kenneth Branagh. Like we mocap Kenneth Branagh as Giraud. Then I thought actually Andy Serkis would probably just make a very good Giraud.
Yes, he'd be very good,
yeah.
but also have him also mocap the bush.
Yeah. We couldn't make a realistic enough bush costume, so we did just do the mocap thing.
Yeah, it's really great. It's the magic of performance capture.
Oh, yes. So a couple things happen while Poirot is in London.
Is this
Yes.
Hastings' big dumb thing that he does?
Which one?
The I'm just gonna show you around all of the
Okay,
murder.
yes. So, lo and behold, Cinderella comes back.
Yes, which much to everyone's delight. Though at this point I'm instantly suspicious.
Yeah, same.
I'm like, oh, beans.
I
Yeah.
just suspicious her, yeah.
Yeah, it does seem really suspicious.
Specifically, she's like, show me all of the murder
It's
stuff.
extra suspicious. It's super suspicious.
Super suspicious. I love it. So yes, he does. He starts taking her around and like showing her all the things about the murder, including the dead body.
Yeah, and there's a fun little scene right outside where he's like, I don't think she should see this, so I'm going to try and give her an out. And he's like, you've seen all the parts of the case. Are you sure you need to see the body itself? And she's like, yes, of course. And he's like, all right, then I'm going to show her, and I hope it scares her.
Yes.
No, I hope it upsets her to teach her a lesson on how women should behave. Cool, Hastings. Cool, bro. And obviously, she goes
What a
in and she
dingleberry this man
she
is.
shocked
Yes.
and upset. And she's like, please get me some water. And he goes and gets her water with brandy, which seemed a little like druggy to me.
It's like
I
two
know
drops
it's what
of brandy.
I know it's what they did, but it's like she didn't
Calms
like
the
she
nerves.
asked for water.
That's
I don't
true.
know. And then when he comes back in, she's like, we need to get out of here really quickly, and like hurries him out and like wants to leave. And at that moment, I'm like, oh, she is taken something. Like,
Yeah. And guess what?
they find the murder weapon gone.
Yep.
Stabbed in a
Surprise.
different person.
Yeah, because he's like, I'm
What?
gonna walk you back to town, and he forgets to lock the door, and so he's like,
Like
it was
it.
unlocked for 20 minutes. Someone went in and stole it, and never once does he think the person I left in there with it, like who got me out of the room.
No,
stole
but
it.
here you gotta understand, like, women can't be bad.
They don't steal. 'Cause
No,
they're
especially
pretty.
when they've. But like she had fainted. Because
Like
also,
the
like,
other
she
thing.
was completely fine with everything, by the by.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just completely fine, and then suddenly, like,
Zoot to Lord.
yeah, very, very fainty. And then she's like,
Faintly.
yes. And then she's like, oh, cool. Yeah, this water put me right. Bye.
It's
Days.
I'm still not telling you my real name, because, by the way, Cinderella is not her real name, in case anyone was confused about that. Her name is not actually Cinderella.
Weird.
She's being clever.
Yeah.
Is she?
Cute?
There it is.
Cute. We'll go with cute.
Very charming.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
Also, okay.
so yes, we did. We discovered the murder weapon later in
In a-
somebody else.
A tramp.
Yeah, in a tramp that was dressed up to look all nice, in nice clothes.
Yes. So what is that
Knife
about?
clothes.
Yeah.
Clothes made of knives.
Sure.
Clinkety, clankety, clinkety.
they
Oh,
bring
man, I'm bleeding.
They keep bringing people in to like, do you know who the heck this is? No. Do you know who the heck this is? No. And like no one recognizes
Does
this
your
man.
person have ginger hair?
No. Guess who?
That's a fun game. It does sound fun though.
Also, there's two places in this, like, there's two main houses
Yes.
divided. But there's two main houses. I can't remember. It's like
The Villa Marguerite is where the
which
Dubois
sounds like what in reverse.
Yeah.
The whole time, I'm like, oh, they're going back to away again in Marguerite.
Okay. There we go.
Just the whole time. I was like, oh, that sounds great. That place.
Oh, okay.
Something about that Villa.
Yeah, it sounds so familiar
really
and warm.
chill.
Villa, whatever.
Genevieve.
Yeah.
Genevieve.
Villa Jean-François.
What about this? Tim
Yes.
Curry, but only speaking French. Je suis Tim Curry.
Oh, okay. Just in general, like
Just in
for
general.
nothing
Just
in
for fun.
particular.
Yeah, just for fun. Like a game in my mind.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like imagine a French word, but that
but
accent.
Tim Curry says
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
Yes, great.
Zut
Love it.
alors. See, it's very good. It's a good game.
So the murder. So they have a second murder. Poirot comes back and Hastings is like, there's another murder.
He's like, that is impossible. I figured it out.
Yeah, I thought I had these figured out.
Oh no, what is this? Yes. So, and immediately when these guys find this body, they're like, well, I guess we should do an autopsy, but like, why? Because there's a knife in the body. I don't know why we'd need to do that. I'm like, he definitely was not stabbed.
Yeah.
I mean, he was stabbed because there's a knife in him, but like,
But
he
not to
didn't-
death.
He did not die from stabbing.
As a side note, also, when Hastings tells Poirot, he ejaculates angrily.
Yes.
Which is very good.
Whoa.
Which is very good. And then also when they go visit another house, it's described as an old wooden erection. And I'm like, yes!
Also, oh gosh, this is so great. When Poirot comes back, and sees Hastings, so this is of course Hastings narrating, he says, forgetting my English reluctance,
Yes.
he embraced me on the platform.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like,
Which I
that's...
just loved so much.
Can we get a version of Poirot where it's John Oliver as Hastings would
my
be
God.
very good. Because
Yeah.
he'd be very funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would. And
Just imagine him like falling in love all over the country. Like,
Yeah.
because everybody likes Hastings also.
He's very
And
handsome.
I guess that's the criteria. But I guess they also don't hear his inner thoughts, which are mostly obnoxious.
yeah.
And terrible.
yeah.
Know that
My favorite.
every person considering dating a man.
Yeah. my favorite ejaculation was just Poirot made his favorite ejaculation of impatience.
Oh, right, that one is very good.
Like he had like
Whoa.
Which
he
was-
ejaculates this a lot. Yeah. Like,
Which
Yes.
is also what it... Anyway, so...
now
Oh,
like a
boy.
sprinkler.
Yeah!
I've made a mistake.
Oh no.
Oh,
Oh.
back to the murder, please.
Sure. Okay.
Yep. So
So-
Poirot gets back. Hastings is like, "There's another murder." He's upset. And Poirot's the first person who's like, "Did you not notice like the foam around his mouth? Like, this doesn't all make sense." And the doctor's like, "Oh, this man was stabbed at least 48 hours ago."
But what's great about that is Poirot gets to that conclusion way before he even sees the body. He's like, well, no, it's
Yeah.
impossible.
Yeah.
And he literally just says, Hastings, shut up and let me think for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then goes, oh, it's this, right? And Hastings is like, how, what? You're the devil. Like,
But and the main thing that people are struggling with is that they know the murder weapon has only been missing for the last chunk of day, and so this man couldn't have been stabbed with the murder weapon from the other case 48 hours ago.
yes.
So that brings me to the purpose of Poirot's visit to London, which I'm now doubting. Okay, because I feel like it's now two things. Wait. No, was he investigating the knife?
No, he was
He does that later.
That's later. Okay.
Yeah.
Was doing this time was
looking at for evidence of why he knows Mrs. Renault.
Right.
because
Okay,
the case
yes.
sounded
That's the
familiar,
thing.
and Renault. The case sounded familiar, and Mrs.
Renault looked familiar.
Not Renault.
Dubray.
Dubray looked familiar.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
My mistake.
And then, so this is about when I figured out a lot of the things was when they recounted the other case.
So, yeah.
I didn't get the murderer right, but the things that I did get was like, oh no, this body was going to be for this. That's why they were burying them in a grave that was going to be a sand trap. Because they needed the body discovered, but they wanted it to be later when they couldn't do forensics or identify it properly. Which I thought was very clever.
So we're talking about the second body now.
Yes.
So, cool. What do we need to talk about first?
Sorry, the other case. Poirot finds.
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay, so we got to talk about that then.
We find out Madame Dubray is an assumed name. And she used to live somewhere else and was involved in a giant media circus around a murder.
Yes. And this is when it becomes important that, like, at the beginning kind of this investigation, Poirot is like, well, you know, murderers usually don't stray too far from their methods.
Yeah.
And so that's why he's kind of like, wait a second, I got to figure something out, because this sounds way too familiar. So Madame Dubray, in her former life, had been involved. Her husband was murdered, and she was investigated for it, along with a man named Georges Connor, right?
Yeah. George Connor.
George Connor, guys. That's the American one. So
the story there was they found Dubray tied up in her room. She said 2 men came in with masks and giant beards. They said he has a secret and we need it. Took him away and he was found dead.
yes.
So the exact same story. But they later eventually find out, like, there were no other men. Like, what the courts eventually decide is Madame Dubray was having an affair with someone else, and the person she was having an affair with, like, murdered him, and he was like, and she was like, if I don't lie, this man's gonna kill me. So I had nothing to do with the murder, but this man who's obsessed with me did kill my husband.
And willing to give me so much money.
Yeah. But
Very
then
wealthy
this man ran.
Right. So Georges Connor.
Georges Connor.
It was yes. He was basically they were like, yeah, he for sure did it, and she got off on a technicality, even though in reality, actually both of them planned this murder of her husband. Yeah.
And
she ran off with right. And she ran off with somebody else who had more money.
Yeah, a wealthy Englishman.
Right. So basically she was just kind of like leaving our friend George in the dark.
Yeah, to murder.
Her husband and then get a better financial deal out of it.
I believe the technical term is trading up.
Yeah. There you go. So that's the story with the former case, and I don't remember Madame Dubray's former name.
Yeah.
So it's just still her.
And this is another thing that, like, when I heard that, my first thought was, because of, like, Renaud wouldn't talk about his past and things, I did figure that out as soon as they gave me that information.
That Renaud
was George.
Yep. That is correct.
Because Hastings is like, oh,
it's the tramp.
The tramp was George.
No, Hastings.
Which makes very little sense.
No, like, okay, the one, like, a very positive quality that Hastings has.
Okay. We're dunking on Hastings a lot here.
Yeah, I mean, I hope Hugh Fraser just fucking hears this. And
who follows us on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. And he's just like, well,
friend of the show, an avid listener.
Sure.
Best, actually my best friend in the whole world, Hugh Fraser.
I was here first. But it is like, can you imagine, like, well, they said they liked me on Twitter, now they're dunking on me.
No,
I dare say they've dunked me a lot.
So listen, Hugh, we love you.
You're great.
You are fantastic. Your performance of these books is wonderful. It is not your fault that your character on the show is Hastings, who is kind of
a tool.
I do like the idea that Poirot honestly believes Hastings has the capacity to get better at this. Like, I wrote down the quote, you do not use your excellent mental capacity efficiently. Like, he thinks he can do this, but you need to learn and be less emotional about it.
Yeah, what is nice about Hastings is that he is really willing to, like, be... I don't know, the people he meets, he's very willing to think the best of.
Yeah.
Which is nice, but also makes him bad at solving murder cases because... literally everyone is a suspect all the time. Also, during this time, when Poirot comes back, doesn't Giraud arrest Renault Jr.?
Yeah, Jack.
So he's actually around. He comes back, and it turns out that they've figured out that he didn't really leave town.
Yep.
Because it is discovered that he has been having an affair with Marta.
Or no, he just
is
in love with Marta.
Sorry, yeah, not an affair.
Married.
Right. He's not married. It's fine. Except that his dad's not cool with it, we find out.
Oh, well, his dad's dead, so that's convenient.
Yeah. I know, right?
Bum, bum, bum.
Makes it sound suspicious. Yeah, no, when I thought that Jack had done it, it was literally because he was they said, oh, the son is out of town. I'm like, oh man, that's suspicious.
No, he's not. Yeah.
And it turns out, no, he's not. And then I was like, yeah. So for a minute, it was going along with what I thought.
Yeah.
And they do arrest him because everyone else was like, yeah, that's really weird. And the will used to be made out so that he'd get a lot of money. But apparently when it was discovered that Marta and when his dad found out that he and Marta were planning on getting married, he wrote him out of the will, but Jack did not know that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And then they go to Paris, is it, for a time?
Oh.
Right, to go visit the acrobats.
Yeah,
after
so they're
this.
like, we need to find Bella.
Who is this Bella?
Poirot gets a photo from Jack Renault's desk
then they go to
Bella. And
they go to a theater producer and go, do you know this girl?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's
He
like,
does.
yes. And she's one of 2 twins that does an acrobatic act.
Yes.
Sisters, I don't think they bring up that it's twins right away. Hastings sees the photo and is like, that's Cinderella.
Yes.
And then keeps it to himself like a stupid person.
Yes. Yes, he does.
Love you, Hugh.
But yes, do we at this point, have we figured out at this point that it was actually Jack's overcoat?
Yes.
Yes, Poirot does say, I figured out the letter was to Jack.
Yeah.
Right.
The letter from Bella.
Yeah.
So not Reynolds Sr., but Jr. was the one who was having this affair with Bella.
Yep. And because they had a row, both Junior and Senior had a row, and in that fluster, he grabs the wrong coat.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, Poirot and Hastings go to Paris to see this acrobatics show. And it has also been discovered. Sorry, do we need to do this now with the knives?
Oh, yeah, there's 3
Yeah.
knives. He made 3 copies of the knife.
Yeah, he had 3
and so
knives
they've
made.
done.
They figured that the mother had one, and then someone else must have had another as well.
Yeah.
Right. There's 3. We thought there were 2 for a bit.
Yeah.
So anyway, so when they go to Paris to see this show, of course, Cinderella is very distressed that Hastings is there, and it comes out that she must have been Bella, that she is Bella, and that she is the one who...
And Hastings thinks he has the whole case figured out. Like,
Yes.
she was in love with Jack, then Jack scorned her, she sees the man she thinks is Jack, and in a passion stabs him in the back, finds out it's Renault, and leaves.
Right.
And he says all this to her, like, I know what happened.
But don't worry,
and
I'll keep you safe.
Her response that he doesn't notice is like, yes, I can see it happening just like that. And I'm like, oh, she's not Bella, her sister's Bella. But Hastings is like, it's you, and I'm going to protect you because I love you, and I've always loved you. And
Suddenly.
yeah, and then Poirot comes in, and Hastings, like, hastily, like binds Poirot, and
So she
she's
can
like,
escape.
run! Yeah.
And she runs away. And Poirot is totally nonplussed by this. He's like, okay, cool. I
Like,
get it.
Do not. This is uncomfortable. Can we not just sit down and talk? It is fine. I'm not going to run after her like a dog as a Giraud.
No, what's really kind of fun is it's a nice little parallel because he goes up and he doesn't tie him up or anything. He just goes up and basically gives him a bear hug for too long, and it's a nice little parallel between that and the train platform.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's good. That's good. I like that.
Nice little storytelling.
Yeah.
Good job, Agatha.
Yeah. Well
Oh,
done.
can we talk for a second that her name's Agatha? It's
It's one of those
unfortunate,
names
isn't it?
that when
It
you say
is.
the whole name, it sounds like a very good name. Like Agatha Cristie is a wonderful name.
Sure.
Agatha is a bad name.
Hey, Aggie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
no, none of that is. It's
Okay.
just I don't like it.
Renaud was being blackmailed by Dubray because Renaud is George, and Dubray is like, hey, you've been convicted of the murder that we did together, and if I tell some people that you're George, you're going to jail. So give me money, please. George is like, okay, I have to keep giving her money. The only way out of this is to die. So what we are
Fakes his
going
own
to do
death.
is we're going to fake my death. The story you're going to give is 2 men came in, asked me for a secret. I'm going to tie your hands because one of the reasons Dubray looked suspicious in her case was she tried to tie her own hands and it was not tight enough.
Right.
So he tied her hands, went out to dig the grave. The tramp had shown up like 2 days earlier and died.
Like,
they
had a
didn't
heart
kill him.
attack or
like
something.
It was epilepsy.
Oh,
Had
right, he had an
fit
epilepsy,
and died.
yeah.
And they're like, cool.
Hence the foam
we
around
have
the
a
mouth.
body now. The lead pipe is important because they were going to bash its face in.
So they couldn't tell who it was.
Bury it there. It would be discovered when they were digging the sand trap for the lynx, and he would have, in the tramp's clothing, escaped. They would find the body. Renaud would identify it as him, even though it is not. She would get all of the money in the will because he needs to be able to control the money again after a while when she leaves after playing the widow's part for a while and meets up with her husband
In Santiago.
in Santiago.
Well, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
No. He died.
Yeah, so what happened was it was Marta found out that that the family, that Renaud did not want Jack to marry her. She overheard the plan that they had, and while Renaud was
same
digging
bench.
the grave,
Yep.
stabbed him with the pen knife, or the wing plane knife that she had a copy of.
Yeah, because there were five.
Because
Three.
there were 3. One that
They
Marta
just keep
had.
multiplying.
One that
Bella had.
But the thing is, because Jack was imprisoned, Bella came and confessed to the crime.
Right, yes, that's important.
And other thing of note is Cinderella, when she stole the knife, threw it away. So Poirot reaches out to Cinderella and says, hey, come meet me and bring this thing if you can find it. She shows up. She has the knife, the pen knife that Bella had. So Bella
Right.
didn't use her own penknife to do it. So Poirot knows that Bella did not do this.
Right, but it was just a false confession because
She didn't want
Jack
to
to die because they're so much more sympathetic to women in these courts.
Yeah, and Jack, though, also thought that Bella had done it and didn't want her to go
So
to the guillotine
he-
either. So he was not defending himself after he was arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they
It's like a
both were
very
willing to
bad
die
gift
for
of
each other.
the
Yeah.
Magi.
Gift of the Magi.
Like
Yeah.
a death of the Magi.
Death
Yeah.
gift of the Magi.
Yeah.
The gift of death.
The
Yeah.
gift of ugh.
So, but it turns out what actually happened was Marta had overheard their plan, stabbed Renaud in the back while he was digging the grave.
Now, can you imagine the last thing to go through his mind is like, oh, well, this is ironic. Like, it's
Yeah.
gotta be. Like, it's like, oh, man.
Yeah. How Poirot catches Marta,
Is she falls and then just quick.
just fireman carry. No,
Help me,
he
Hastings,
has
I am not
words
very strong anymore. In my old age, I have become weak.
has a talk with Mama Renaud.
Jack does, right?
No, Poirot has a talk
Poirot.
with Mama Renaud, and she comes out in a huff and says, "I disown you, Jack. You're never gonna get a
You
cent of
don't
my
get a
money."
cent.
And Jack faints, and Marta's like, "We can take him to my house. It'll be fine." Brings him there, and then Poirot.
I'm changing the will tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she says, "I'm changing the will tomorrow."
And so
then
that
Poirot
night-
sits outside waiting, and they hear cries of help from inside.
Yeah,
And
it's
they rush
super
inside,
great.
and someone is trying to kill the mother. But her room's been moved, and they climb a tree to get in, and they can't get in.
It's great.
But
really
Bella
good.
is with them, and she's like, "Well, I
No.
guess it all falls on me then." Oh, not Bella.
No,
Cinderella
Cinderella,
is with
her
them. It all
sister,
falls on
yes.
me then, and she leaps from the tree to the roof of the building, scales into another window, and and takes out Marta.
Yeah. It's one of those things as well, like, Hastings like, how did she do that? And Poirot's like, she's a professional
She's
acrobat,
she-
you idiot.
We just saw her in the show, and she was an acrobat. I did not understand.
My stupid
You
English
beautiful-
cousin.
You beautiful idiot. And they've prevented a second murder, a third death.
Yes.
Finally succeeding in some way.
Except Marta's dead. Oh well, though.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, third death. But she was evil.
Murder.
Yeah. It turns out she was like
Evil
her mother's
is-
daughter. They imply like the mother was cold and unfeeling, and so was
So was
the
she.
daughter.
She just wanted the money. So now it's implied that Jack and Bella were actually really in love, and they'll get back together.
because they were both willing to die for each other. At
Which
first,
is actually kind of, I guess, sweet.
Jack. I mean, at first, Jack's like, so me and my mom are moving to Santiago. We're just gonna go do that thing because we have nothing here. And he's like, and Paul's like, is that all? Is there not someone else you want to bring? He's like, I can't ask Bella to come with. I was an idiot. Like I turned her down for murder woman. Like I can't do that.
Murder
and
woman.
Paul was like,
What a bad
I think you
superhero.
are wrong. I think that she would go with you if you asked.
Yes.
And then it's implied that she does.
And then it's also kind of implied that Hastings and Cinderella, who does reveal her real name, but I have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
Gucci.
Darcy?
Yes. Darcy.
All right.
It's implied
That they get married,
They're gonna get
or
married?
they
It's very cryptic in a.
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
smooch.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
there's
smooch
some
in a garden.
smooching.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So that
How
was
many mustaches?
it's out of 10. Yeah.
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 I'd go 7. Like this was a quality little murder. I had a lot of fun with it. I hated Hastings less.
Yeah.
There were parts like at the beginning, it was a little slow for me, but once it picked up, it was a blast. So
Yeah. Super fun. Lots of twists and turns. Gosh, I think I'm gonna say 8. I liked it a whole lot.
I'd say about an 8 as well.
it's fair. I need to have that room above in case something blows me away. That's why I feel like I'm like, this is my favorite so far. But
we've read 2 books and saw a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay, and we are not better detectives. No one leveled up.
no. Yeah.
No,
I
got
mean,
it right.
I did get Marta.
That's fair.
I got half right.
I wrote a little like thing.
So you get 10
Of what? 10 of what?
mustaches.
This is my
Oh.
yeah.
God, how are we working this?
You can trade them in for
One beard.
mustache points. You can trade once you get to 50. You can trade them in for a beard.
Oh, thank God.
So you have to buy. It's a false beard in case you need disguises. So
Oh,
you
right.
trade in your mustache points for like the things you need to be a detective. So like magnifying glass is a pretty expensive one.
Are these like tickets at a
Yes,
shakies?
yes.
Yeah.
Like,
So what you
What's
need
a
is you're getting all the gear, the fictional gear for your fictional
Okay.
detective. All right.
Okay.
I wrote a little thing at the end, so I did a better job of keeping up with the case this time, partially because I think it was written better. But in the end, I also let like my emotions like run away with my own thoughts, and I have a hard time looking at all the parts of the case at once. So I'm definitely like more of a Hastings than a Poirot at this point.
Totally.
In terms of doing it. But hey,
But less
Hastings
misogyny.
was better in this book, so maybe I too can become better.
I would
True,
say
true.
that I don't really try to figure it out until like most of the pieces are together.
Yeah.
Which is also very pro-ro-ish. Of like,
Yeah.
we'll see, we'll figure it out, it'll be solved.
Yeah, it's tough because like in my head I feel like I should be like playing it like a game, but I also like I should probably just be listening to the books.
Yeah, I went the total opposite way and was just like first instinct.
Yeah, I think for next
First
week,
thought, best thought.
I will write down my first instinct just so I have it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Written. Yeah.
But that is our time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I, therefore, call this meeting to an end. This is the sound of a gavel.
That's not us.
Gavel noise. Perfect.
Is that how we end? I
Meeting
forget.
adjourned, yeah.
Meeting
Yeah.
adjourned.
C'est lui pour moi, moi pour lui dans la vie. Il me l'a dit, la journée pour la vie. Et dès que je l'aperçois, alors je sens en moi mon cœur qui bat.
Hello, I'm Tristan Miller.
And I'm Miles Neuvirth. Hey, Tristan, do you like movies?
No, I think they're all garbage and bad and we should stop making them. if there was only some way for me to experience new movies. But I don't like going to the movies or watching movies. I want people to describe movies to me.
So you want like an audio medium where someone will send you, regularly send you a description of better movies than the ones being made, like cooler, more like sexier, and like more radical movies.
Yeah, that sounds like an ideal situation. How could I do that?
I think I have a solution to your problem.
What's it?
Let me pitch this at you. Wink. Elevator pitch.
Oh, what's that?
It is a podcast where two best friends.
Oh, who are they? Are they us?
It's me and you. We're best friends. We pitch fake movies at each other and see who comes up with a better movie that week, and the loser has to spend the time until the next show in an elevator.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Elevator pitch comes out every other Friday. Going up!